Voice of Doom! Do me voice! Do voice say things about things?
Anyway, so the voice of doom arrives again.
Voice of
and-
Doom says that there will be a dinner party at the cornucopia. There'll be something you need. Every tribute needs something. Go there and get it.
It's a picnic. It's not a dinner party.
Is it? Oh, picnic. Sorry, my bad. Picnic! No, picnic! What's up, everyone? Welcome to Flip the Scripts. I'm Stephen Nieman.
And I'm Ankit and Madhira.
And we're so excited to get back into Hunger Games Part 2.
Woo! It's still the first book. This is just the second episode that we talk about it.
Yeah, we're not in Catching Fire yet. Catching Fire will happen next week. So if you're excited for a new book, we are too. So before we get back into the adaptation, we have a new segment that I'd like to introduce. So it's basically just a segment of we want to kind of put ourselves into the book's world a bit. So, Ankit,
Yes.
if you had to be in any district raised, you can't say the capital because that's cheating. What district would you want to be in?
It's rude that you figured out my loophole before I had the loophole and the chance to say it.
Hey, my brain, gotcha. Haha,
On
buddy.
that note, can you remind me what all the districts are famous for so that I can give you a proper answer? Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna say the capital, but yeah, squash that.
So, District 1 is known for jewelry and luxury items. District 2, masonry and weapons. District 3, electronics. District 4, fishing. District 5, electricity. District 6, transportation. District 7, lumber. District 8, textiles. District 9, grain production. District 10, livestock. District 11, agriculture. And District 12, coal mining. Now, keep in mind that District 1, 2, and 4, because we're doing the book universe, are career tributes. So if you happen to get tributed into the Hunger Games, at least you'd have training if you were in District 1, 2, or 4.
Sure, I'd probably go with 10 though, because like animals.
You know what? There.
Like that's my whole reasoning.
Yeah.
But also,
no.
like, you know, I'm a scrawny short boy. If I was in 1, 2, or 4, I wouldn't end up in the games. I'd feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think I would do electronics. I think I'd be really interested in District 3, learning all the all the cool engineering, electronic things, and like science stuff of District 3 of how they make the capital work.
Oh, that's a good shout. I don't mind
Yeah.
that. I didn't mind also 4 with fishing.
Yeah,
Something about it's just really peaceful.
It's really funny because they make so much money from fishing, they're a career tribute in the book. But in the film, they're like, nah.
Too much effort. Too much
Cool.
effort.
Shall we, now that we know what districts, I'm District 3. Ankit is District 10. I've just killed Ankit in the games because I'm better, because I came
Hey!
first.
Hey!
Hey, all the District 10 tributes died in the cornucopia. At least the District
Well,
3
that's
tributes
because they were dumb.
There's no animals in the cornucopia. Well, maybe not. We can talk more about that at the end of the book.
Okay, well, I mean, like, it's bold of you to assume that just because they say livestock, it doesn't mean that, like, you know, I can't be good at, like, chasing down things and running. Like, what if I gotta be chasing chickens? They're hard to catch. I'm quick. You ain't catching me.
Sure. Let's start the games.
You're mean.
Let's be honest. We'd both die in the Hunger Games. There was this whole thing where like people were coming out when the Hunger Games came out. They're like, I would survive the games. I'm really smart. I know what to do. And then literally 90% of the population, if they were in the games, would just die in the first second.
I mean, like, I'm not a genius, but that's just how the statistics work.
Yeah, but also people are really stupid. I think half of them would step off the platform.
Yeah, also keep in mind that this is in North America. That's all we're gonna say. Back to the games. So,
So
let's talk about the games.
here we are. We are going right into part 2 of the book, which literally is labeled part 2 by Suzanne Collins, and part 2 of the film. So our film starts back up. Haymitch has just said goodbye to Katniss because, you know, in the film universe, Haymitch only trains Katniss Everdeen, not Peeta Mellark. We complained enough about that in the last episode, so we won't talk about it here. And Katniss ends up on a lovely transportation to the game. So they're transporting to the facility, and they're all getting arm things, trackers in their arms.
Yes.
This happens in the book, mind you, but in the book, it's all private. Like nobody else sees the other people get trackers, so it feels a bit interesting to put everybody together on day one. They kept the tributes separated until the games start. I think on purpose, probably because of previous games. Some people started killing early, and we know that some people even retorted to cannibalism. So, in the game, so I think they would not have put them together. But that's book versus film. I get why they did it. They just needed to get that information out to us.
Yeah, I wasn't upset that they were all separate. I was just like, okay, cool. They just need to tell us that everything's happening and everyone's getting a tracker. Great, we can move on.
Yeah. So then the sci-fi games, we go to the sci-fi room, which is really funny, which we don't see in the book, obviously. So as we said in the last episode, anything Katniss doesn't see, we don't see. So welcome
It's
to the
almost
Game
like
Maker
it's
room.
in her point of view.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Game Maker room. What do you think of the Game Maker room, Ankit?
Oh, I thought it was super cool, dude. Like, I really liked seeing all the technology that they have and liked seeing like how they could manipulate everything. It was really, really interesting.
So if we were the Capitol, we'd be in the Game Maker room?
No.
No.
I feel like I'd just be a blissful person that just enjoyed the carnage. I don't want to be responsible for the carnage.
Fair. So when I asked you that question earlier, you were like, I could say capital and just still be complacent, but be a complacent citizen, good citizen.
Yeah. I just, you know, I don't love the carnage, but, you know, I'm also like, you know what? If I lived in the capital, I'd just like run a shop or something.
Sure.
Like, that's it.
So Katniss goes into her new room to get dressed. Get dressed and get ready for the games. She puts her coat on. Cinna shows up. What they don't explain in the film, but they explain in the book, is all these rooms are new every year. They build a new stadium every single year for the games, and they become amusement parks after the games. So after 23 people have died, a bunch of children come to these places to have fun.
Yeah, and are these the people from the capital that go? Because it's definitely not the people from the districts.
Well, yeah, because this is like very much like it's the districts support the capital's lifestyle. The kids from the capital will be raised with the idea that they are superior. They get to have fun stuff and get to do fun stuff.
Okay, cool.
Then she gets her pin from Cinna. It feels like it's a secret in the film, but in the book they talk about it's actually like allowed. So every tribute's allowed to bring something into the games, and they almost disallowed Katniss's pin because they said it could be used as a weapon. I think the District 1 tribute I put, Glimmer tried to bring a hidden knife ring, but they found the hidden knife and they were like, no. And so
they were like, we can't allow this.
So on that note, taking a little bit from the districts, Ankit, if you were in the Hunger Games, what's the one thing you would bring in from home?
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. Oh, now I have to think. I feel like, I do know. It would be a little locket that I have that I don't wear very often. but it's a locket of Hanuman carrying a mountain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
My grandmother specifically like looked and went and bought it for me. I think when I was about 13. Yeah, I think about 13 is when she got it for me.
I think I would bring my yarmulke that I got when I was 13 for my bar mitzvah. So like something very like that keeps me to home, keeps me rooted, but also something I can't actually wear in the games because I'm sure it would fall off and then I'd die.
Yeah, that isn't something that you can really wear in the game, Steven.
It'd be in my pocket. It's fine.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. So then Sin is like, hey, if I had to bet, this is film only, mind you. If I had to bet, I bet on you. If I could bet, I bet on you. So this left me with two questions: like, can people bet on the Hunger Games? That wasn't clear. That's not in the book, but I guess in the film version, people can. And why can't Cinna bet?
I thought it was in the book.
I think like because
Like it's
basically,
referenced.
well, it's talked about like people support tributes. I think there is like maybe a bookie system where people can bet, but like I think giving money to tributes might be against the rules.
Yeah. And also, like, keep in mind that this is the one sporting event for anyone that's listening on audio. Sporting is very much in air quotes, but this is the one sporting event that happens every year. You're telling me that people aren't gonna bet on the one sporting event that happens every year?
No, exactly.
Even if
So
it's illegal?
yeah, no fair actually. So everyone's betting. I guess Cinna. It wasn't. That's not in the film book actually, but Cinna probably can't bet because he's part of her team. So I imagine people
Yeah.
within the Hunger Games aren't allowed to bet, but I'm sure people break that rule all the time.
Yeah. I'm sure people break that rule, but also I feel like if you are affiliated with the games in terms of like creating the games, in terms of anything like working on the games, you're not allowed to bet, which makes sense. It's the same kind of rules that you kind of have with, sports leagues around the world. You can't bet if you are part of the organization.
Although I swear one of those people that's in the that's in the building is betting against Katniss. I swear.
Oh, yeah. My favorite though is like in professional sports leagues when like players will bet, but then they'll get like banned for betting, right? Which okay, but then it comes out that they have bet on their team to win. It's not like they're betting on the other team. They're betting on themselves doing well. And then they get fined for betting on themselves doing well. And I'm like, okay, I understand it if you're betting for the other team to win, but you're just betting on yourself at this point. And you're like, if I have a great game, I might as well make a little bit of extra money on it.
It reminds me of this funny video I saw where it was a bunch of players and a ref, and they were all doing fantasy football, and they just didn't want a certain play to go through on a flag because it would affect all of their fantasy football leagues.
I haven't seen this clip. You have to send it to me.
It's a funny YouTube clip. If I find the video again, I will send it. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So Katniss gets in the tube, and all of them go up to the cornucopia. They're all on their pedestals. No one leaves early, so no blowing up kids. I get it.
Dang it. I mean, fair.
As they're going up and it's about to start, it shows all the districts like watching the game, but then it shows Gale like in the middle of the forest, like out there nowhere. Suzanne, I know you helped write this script. Like, Gale can't do that. Like, in your rules of the Capitol, everyone has to mandatorily watch the games.
Yeah.
So he has to watch the opening of the games. He can't just be like, "Oh, I'm just chilling in the forest while my friend about to die."
I mean, unless like he was like, I'm sick, but then I feel like the peacekeepers would have shown up. But also the peacekeepers in 12 are really kind and they like Gale because he brings them fun food. So like, you know what? They may have given him a pass because it's like, hey, you're best friends in the games. We get it.
I don't buy it.
I
Um,
don't buy it. I'm just giving you a reason of maybe why he's in the woods.
I think they just wanted a shot at Gale. That's
I
all I'm
mean,
gonna say.
look, when you have Liam Hemsworth, you use Liam Hemsworth.
Fair. So then we go to the cornucopia. And I would say the game starts and everyone goes in to get their stuff. Cool. This is the same from the same from the book. Katniss spots Peeta. Peeta's like, "Don't do it." So she goes for a bag anyway. Clove throws a knife at her. She keeps Clove's nice. Cool. Same. The direction, the shaky cam of the cornucopia, where everybody's running in, a bunch of people are dying, and the music, the just kind of like the beepy note, it feels like,
Mm-hmm.
to me kills the burst of action. It makes it feel less scary for Katniss.
Yeah, I think the shaky cam works. I don't think the score works in this moment.
Yeah. Okay. I don't
I
know.
think the shaky cam in this moment does work because it's chaos, right? And you're trying to emit chaos.
Yeah.
That's what this moment is. It's chaos. And so I think the shaky cam works. I think what you might be referencing to a little more is maybe the score doesn't work as well in that moment.
Yeah. I don't think there's a nice underscore in this moment.
Yeah.
Also,
It's
the
a
district.
great score throughout, but many films have, very small moments here and there where you're like, that was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But you move on.
So there's a District 4 kid. He's really little, and he's hiding in the cornucopia, and then he gets a bag and he runs out, and Kato just batters him. I have an issue with this because, of course, in the book, District 4 is part of the career tributes, and it's supposed to be a team up of 1, 2, and 4. So all 6 career tributes work together to kill everyone else.
Yeah.
But Kato's decided this guy's got to die because 4 is not a career tribute anymore.
No, he's not a career. I have an issue on a whole different front.
Oh, go for it. I want to hear your issue with the cornucopia scene.
Oh, my issue is just with the cornucopia.
Oh, like from the perspective of like why it exists?
No. I understand why the cornucopia exists, my friend. But in the book, the cornucopia is meant to be what a cornucopia actually is, which is like a giant horn with stuff spilling out of it, not a black tent with things just around it.
I mean, it's metal. It has like metal. No, you're
It's
right.
metal, but also the cornucopia is meant to be strung up in the book. It's not
True.
on the ground.
No, you're right.
It's not just a tent.
Yeah. So the cornucopia doesn't look like a cornucopia, and
It's not a cornucopia, it's a tent. For anyone that isn't aware, a cornucopia comes from Greek mythology. If I'm remembering correctly, it is Greek and not Roman. But it comes from Greek mythology. And it's the horn of a certain monster that I'm not remembering. But if you've read the Heroes of Olympus series, you figured it out. Tying everything back to Percy Jackson because I love it. Anyway, so it's supposed to be this thing of like plentiful harvest and stuff, and like you can get like fruit and vegetables and anything out of the cornucopia that you want. That's what the cornucopia is supposed to be. It's a horn, not a tent.
it's almost as if it was supposed to be a horn to make it kind of because the Hunger Games. Like if they go there, they get food.
Oh, I didn't even put that together, but like, oh my god, look at us figuring out the pieces.
It's almost like Suzanne Collins knows what she's writing about.
Look, Suzanne Collins, significantly more intelligent as she was writing the book as us two, as we are now discovering this newly.
So my thought, no, I knew this. My thought is that the set
and yet you didn't
designer-
bring it up?
Well, I forgot about the cornucopia differences. My head was
How do you forget about the cornucopia difference? It's literally a tent!
I was more mad about the career tributes, okay?
We're mad about different things.
Okay, so but also, which makes us good because you get mad at other stuff, I get mad at other stuff. It's good, good combo. My other problem with this moment, and I think this is really, I could just imagine the set designer who's been told, oh, it needs to be a cornucopia, and he went, it's not futuristic enough. So he was trying to make it futuristic because it does have like a thing, the cornucopia from the film does have like a.
It has like a little like poof on the tent, and like it's fancy. It's a fancy tent.
So
I will say, I'm mad that it's not a cornucopia. I understand why it's not a cornucopia in terms of set design and easiness of filming.
So Katniss has now a backpack, an orange backpack, mind you, and a knife. Now the orange backpack in the book is a really bright orange backpack that she has to cover up with mud and actually disguise it. This backpack is black orange. She doesn't have to do a single thing to it.
No, it's more black than orange, but they left a little bit of orange. So you know what? I'll give it to them.
I think it was more interesting the other way. She opens the
Look, it was more interesting, but we understand why they did it.
She opens the bag and she finds rope, pills, and an empty water bottle. Now in the book, she finds no rope, but she finds pills, an empty water bottle, a sleeping bag, a 0-degree sleeping bag, which is really, really important, and a rain poncho, which they kind of have in the book, but they film as well. But they ignored the 0-degree sleeping bag. Don't know why. Seemed like that was a big, important part of the
It was a very important part of the book. I'm confused on why they didn't give her a sleeping bag, because they were like, Katniss can suffer.
What did you think of our cannon sound? I really like it. Like the cannon sound of like when somebody dies.
It was a really nice cannon. I mean, this is great sound effect. Beautiful.
So
exactly what I imagined. In the book, and correct me if I'm wrong here, right? In the book, there are 11 deaths.
Yeah, and 12
But in the
people.
film, there's 12.
So the girl from District 4 doesn't die in the scuffle in the cornucopia because she joins the career tributes because she's a career. In the film, the girl from District 4 and the boy from District 4 die, which makes us 12.
Oh, so they just killed both of them. Okay, cool.
They were like, we forgot to make District 4 careers. Let's kill them both and get them out of the way.
You know what? Okay.
At least that's what I imagine happened.
You know what? I'm not upset about this choice.
Little bit.
At least they're consistent.
Fair. To be clear, after Katniss looks at all her supplies, she waits and she hears the cannon go off 12 times and she counts it just like she did in the book. It's very similar. She wants to know who's dead, how many are left. So by the end of the day of Cornucopia, there's supposed to be 13 left in the book, but there's 12 left in the film.
Mm-hmm. But then, also, I'm pretty sure one of the deaths just happens often. We don't hear about it in the book either. Like, she's just like, oh, this person's dead. Okay. So, like, it's fine.
Yeah. Finding water is way too easy, I said. So in
Yes.
In the film, she follows this Haymitch advice. She gets to water. She gets to water immediately. She's like, oh, there's water. Bam. Done. Check mark. I'm good.
Yeah, in the book, she almost dies of dehydration. And she's like pleading with Haymitch, being like, Haymitch, water, get me water. But then she realizes that Haymitch isn't sending her water as a message, being like, hey, you're close, keep looking, don't give up. Right? So she understands the message that Haymitch is trying to send her. And so she keeps trying, but like she is crawling. She is so dehydrated. But then she finally gets to water and is able to get to the water.
Keep in mind, these parts of the book and film are like switched around on us a bit. So in the film, Katniss finds water, goes up a tree, is up in a tree, sees a fire, It's a girl who lit a fire in the district. Hamish mentioned don't light a fire out and you'll get caught. You'll get killed. And so the girl gets killed by the careers and PETA. That happens day 3 of the games, not day 1.
No. The fire happens day 1.
No, sorry. Fire happens day 1. She doesn't find water till day 3.
Till day 3.
Yeah. So, but she finds water day 1, and we're fine, and we're gonna keep on trucking.
I didn't like that change.
I think it's also really interesting because obviously after the scene, after she sees PETA has like betrayed her or whatever, I like the fact that she's dehydrated and it's affected her judgment a bit, but also for the next part of the games, why is she just walking in randomness? See, this is the thing about Katniss in the book. Katniss would never just go anywhere without purpose in the book. In the film, it felt like they were like, oh, just keep walking that direction because you want to check it out. I don't think Katniss would, because her survival instincts would not let her do that.
Yeah, this is where I had like a big like, okay, this isn't Katniss. Like, it's the first time that I felt like this isn't what Katniss would actually do in the book. Mm-hmm. Where, like you said, it's the survival instincts, but also like in the book, she kind of sets up her base. She's like, this is my base. She abandons the base later and needs to go find a new base later, but we'll get to that and we'll get to why that happens. But she has a little bit of a base and she's like, all right, I'm not going to stray too far away, because Katniss doesn't like want to kill anybody. She understands that she will need to if she wants to win, but she doesn't want to. So she's not actively going out and trying to like find people to murder. She's just like, look, I'll let them do it, and then I will just defend myself when people come at me.
My other thing is she didn't tie herself. She tied herself to the tree with her belt, which I think is makes a lot more sense than the rope that randomly was in there. And she also had the 0-degree sleeping bag, because one thing that is not in the film but is very apparent in the books is it keeps getting colder at night, and it gets insanely cold at night that you need something like a 0-degree sleeping bag just to stay alive.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't get cold in the film.
No,
it's a crisp, like, maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
And then camera is everywhere. I really like the fact when she looks at a tree, it has the camera in the tree trunk. I think this is a really cool indication of, Katniss in the film now being aware she's being filmed. But in the book, we always got her internal monologue telling us, oh, I think I'm on camera right now. So I get they wanted to show it in a different way.
Yeah. Again, we don't have her internal monologue. It makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, it's going well. And then Katniss sleeps through the night. And then this happens on the first night, right? Like the big fire?
It's interesting. So No. It doesn't happen on the first night. It happens on the third after she's gotten water.
No. In the book, it does. In the film.
So before the big fire, though, she sees the girl lighting the fire, right? That's the first night. And
yeah.
In the book, the girl, they don't know if the girl's dead because the cannon didn't go off until PETA showed up. So I think they're already, the book and film kind of in the book you get the sense that PETA had to finish her off because Cato didn't. Like Cato tortured her by like leaving her to die, but PETA like took her out of her misery. And that's the canon. I feel like they didn't do that, and I was sad for that change. Because
I feel like just overall in this movie, they really nixed PETA's character a bit.
And I would say they undercut the careers.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, though. So then Katniss is walking in the forest everywhere and, doing her thing. Now it's the second night. She's sleeping, and she's getting too close to the barrier, which we could talk about why that's important in another episode, because there's a reason why the game masters don't want anybody near the barrier.
We'll talk about that probably next week, maybe the week after. We will see. It will be discussed within the next 2 episodes. So if you're curious on what's going on with the barrier, come back for at least the next 2 weeks, and hopefully past that too. Anyway.
So Katniss is asleep. Big fire scene. So it's really interesting on the fire because she's running from fireballs, da 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 da, and a tree falls on her, and it doesn't actually look like she got burned or singed on the leg in the film. It just magically happens. But in the book, isn't a fireball get shot at her, and that's what singes her leg?
No, it's a tree.
Fair. I would say it was a terrible effect though, because it doesn't look like it
I'm
touches
pretty
her
sure
at
it's a tree
all.
in the book.
Cool, but it doesn't look like it touches her at all. That's all I'm gonna say.
No. I will say though, it is really cool because right before like they start the fire and everything, and throughout this whole fire scene when there's this blazing fire and Katniss is running, and it's really cool to see how the game makers are changing the games and the manipulation tools that they have and how much like tech that they really have and how much control that they have over the games. Just really, really interesting to
Yeah,
see from that point of view because you don't get that in the book. So I thought that was a very nice addition in the film.
yeah, you don't, and it's definitely I think a lot more interesting in the book perspective than the. I think it's a lot more scary in the book perspective where you don't know what the game makers are thinking, but I do like seeing the stuff in the film.
Yeah, I think it adds a nice element to the film. Yeah. The tree burning, fine, whatever. The effect is what it is. It's the early 2010s when this is coming out. So, like, it could have been better, slash, should have been better, but also maybe budget. And they were like, that's one slight effect that we just didn't notice or whatever. I don't know. Again, odd effect. But my big issue was that her leg is significantly more hurt in the book than it is in the film. Like in the book, she can't run at all. She's like limping and like barely able to move because of how bad her leg is. In the film, she gets burned and then continues to sprint.
Into a lake, which she didn't do in the book. She just laid in a pond. She found a pond and laid into it, which I think is a lot more interesting. Then she hears the career achievement is coming, and that's what alerts her to climb the tree.
Yeah.
Through her pain, mind you, she climbs this tree. And what I said was, she jumps in the lake, and then we see the careers that are like, oh, look, there she is. Let's go get her. Let's go get her because, you know, we're having a good time. We're here on a camping trip. It's just us, and we're on. The careers aren't scary. I'm sorry. Like, I don't understand their just choice to be like, oh, guys, you know, careers act like you're having the time of your life. You know, you're not killing people. You're not here to like do this crazy thing. Like in the book, the careers felt like they were on a mission to kill people. In the film, I don't get that feeling.
Yeah, the only one in the book that was like the happy-go-lucky, like yeah, was Glimmer.
Oh yeah, she yeah.
But
There's
also she was dark.
very dark. So then Katniss climbs. Cato tries to climb up the tree as well. That's also in the book, but Cato falls. Can I say Cato fell too early? I feel like Cato could have fallen a little after because Katniss makes a comment in her head, well, in her thought process. She's like, if Cato just hit his head a little differently, he could have died there. I don't think Cato could have died in that fall
Oh, in the film?
in the film.
I mean, yeah, there were no branches.
Exactly. And then Glimmer shoots an arrow at Katniss, and like she sucks at archery, which is hilarious because she actually does suck at archery in the book, but she gets close to Katniss in the film.
Yeah, she doesn't even get close to Katniss in the book, which is just like laughable and it's beautiful. And then Rue comes in, because they all decide that they're gonna camp down there because they can't get up to her. And PETA advises them to just wait her out, and so they agree. And Katniss, you know, is sitting up there, and I did like that we get like a very quick scene of Haymitch trying to get her medicine.
Yeah, and this is where the book and the film have kind of taken something I think is a little more interesting and added to it. Like how much the mentors of the tributes have to go through just to send stuff to people into the games. How much
Yeah.
networking they have to do, how much stuff
And
they
not the
have to do.
tributes, it's the coaches. What are they called?
Mentors, like I said.
Mentors.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said mentors.
Oh,
But
yeah.
just changing it up, of course, because they have to. In the book, Katniss sees Rue first, and Rue points out the Tracker Jacker nest. And we'll explain Tracker Jackers in a second. But Katniss goes up and tries to cut the branch then and there with her bad leg, because that's her only way out of the situation. She then realizes she can't with her bad leg, so she slimmers down back to her branch, back to her home base, which is where her sleeping bag is. And she's there, and she's hoping for help. And Haymitch sends the medicine. So she gets burn ointment. She puts it on her leg. That's both in both parts. Can
Yep.
I just say, I don't like the fact they put physical notes in with Haymitch's stuff, because Katniss is supposed to just read into what Haymitch is saying
Yeah.
with the gifts.
I understand why they did it for the audience's sake, for like the viewers, but I did enjoy a bit more the mystery behind some of these gifts and some of the, hey, this is what I want you to do, like figure this out kind of deal.
Yeah, because when you're watching the film, you get a sense of you kind of get a sense Haymitch is really trying to get Katniss to win the games. In the book, you 100% get that sense that Haymitch wants Katniss to win the games.
Yeah.
So in the book, and then we're in the film world, Katniss wakes up, her leg is completely healed, which is amazing. I think it takes a bit longer in the book, but it's fine. She looks
Movie
at
magic, yay!
She looks at Rue. Rue's like, "Hey, look, Tracker Jacker nest." And then we cut to two of my favorite characters. Flickerman and Claudio Temple are there, kind of narrating what's going on in the games. They're kind of representing Katniss's thoughts. So they've taken Katniss's books, thoughts, and given them to two characters, which I like. I'm okay with that because I do love Flickerman. I do love Stanley Tucci. And I think the guy who plays Claudio does a really good job.
Yeah, I think it's great because you see Katniss's thoughts, but it's a way to show them, like you're saying, because we don't have Katniss's thoughts in the film version. So it makes sense. So, as they are saying, they're like, oh, like that's a thing of Tracker Jackers, and Tracker Jackers are extremely poisonous bee-like creatures that they have like a hive and everything, but they're very territorial. They don't like anybody messing with their hive, and they're like, let's see what she does and how she's going to get out of this situation. Now, what I didn't like in the film, so what ends up happening is that Katniss goes up, she cuts the nest off of the branch, she gets stung a few times, but it drops the Tracker Jacker nest down onto the career tributes and Pita, who are all sleeping down below, and they all run away and scatter. Two of them get killed. That's all the same. Glimmer is one of them that gets killed by these Tracker Jackers. The poison works very, very quickly, and so Katniss runs down. She grabs the bow out of Glimmer's hand, grabs the arrows, and I thought that was a cool effect, though, in the film, like how they showed Glimmer and, completely, petrified and frozen, disgusting effect, but really, really cool effect. Peeta runs in and tells her to run and go away, and I thought how they did the camera work for showing that she is poisoned by the Tracker Jackers is really interesting. Very, very well done there. And then, yeah, that's pretty much how that whole sequence goes. But
I have issues with this sequence.
You have
go ahead.
3. All right. Go with your first one.
So Rue points at the nest. Obviously, when Katniss had gone up earlier, when she was still burnt and started a groove, it'd been easier to cut off. But Katniss came up with the idea for the Tracker Jackers, not Rue.
That was my issue as well.
So I think it's it takes away Katniss's brain smarts to be like, hey, Katniss can't think for herself. Rue has to point it out. And I'm like, Rue just pointed at it. Katniss went, oh yeah, I can do that.
Rue was just being like, by the way, there's a tracker jacker nest above you. Good luck.
Also, for everyone's notification, because this is explained in the books but not in the film, tracker jackers were made by the Capitol. It was a failed experiment used in the war. One way the districts would get around the tracker jackers was when they would light fires, because fires would put them to sleep. So the fire actually that they lit in the games has put the tracker jackers to sleep. So Katniss should be able to cut it without getting stung in the night before her burn gets healed. But they're also waking up in the morning. So as she's cutting it, Katniss film version does something really stupid. She swats a tracker jacker. Of course they're going to attack her. Like, it was just really dumb. I'm like, what are you doing? In the book, Katniss would have never done that. She still gets stung because she is shaking the branch. Also, Katniss herself cuts it, and down comes the tracker jacker nest, and it only kills one tribute. But in the book, it kills two. The girl from District 4 gets killed by the tracker jackers.
Yeah, but we killed her off earlier.
Yes, but only Glimmer gets killed by the tracker jackers, and the other three tributes run to the water that's by the cornucopia, which there's a huge lake there, to save themselves. The lake's not in the film for some reason, but we can imagine they ran to some water source.
They ran to that same lake where they just found Katniss a little while ago.
It's supposed to be near the cornucopia. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So, overall, good scene, I think. Like, you know, it was pretty true to the book, all things considered. So, yeah. But she is, you know, passed out from all of this, you know, poison. And then she wakes up a couple days later.
So, first she has a hallucination, though. And this is... Keep in mind, this is film only, and I think this is hilarious. Caesar Flickerman shows up in the middle of the games and is like, tracker jacker venom is very dangerous. And, like, she has a nightmare, and she has a dream about her dad's death and how her mom is, you know, went mute when her dad died, so she has a nightmare about it. In the book, it just says she has nightmares, and that's the end of the chapter. She wakes up, and she's being taken care of by Rue, who's been putting chewed up leaves on her stingers, which helps. Apparently, there's tracker jacker nest in District 11, so Rue knows how to take care of them. That's not really explained in the film, but I thought I'd explain it here in the podcast because it's explained in the book.
Yeah, fair. I mean, you know, I think it's pretty self-explanatory in the film, though. Like, even if you haven't seen it, you're like, okay, Rue knows something to get the poison out, whatever, like, let's move on, right? Perfectly fine. But Katniss, you know, is getting better. She now has the bow, and she mentions to Rue, she's like, hey, they're not the only ones that can team up. Like, why don't we team up? Which is the same as in the book. And I really like this team up. I'm like, let's go. And, you know, Katniss then feeds Rue and gives her food and everything, and gives her food, which is the same as the book. And in the morning, they formulate a plan to go mess with the tributes and destroy all their stuff at the cornucopia.
The career tributes, to be clear. The career tributes.
The careers, not the others who are just, you know, vibing and trying to stay alive. They're okay. We don't mind them. So Rue is then teaching Katniss how to use the Mockingjays to signal her, and that's where you get the iconic whistle that comes through from the film. So the one that goes... I definitely hit the wrong note on that whistle, but you get the idea. So
Can I just really quick point out, the film just broke its own continuity? Because earlier in the film, she goes, what's a Mockingjay? And here in the film, she goes, oh, those are Mockingjays. Because she knows what they are in the film.
Oh, Rue?
No, Katniss.
Katniss.
Because in this scene, she's like, what's Mockingjay? And then, like, in the film, later in the film, she's like, oh, yep, those are Mockingjays. I see those all the time. I'm like, no, you don't. You didn't know what they were in the beginning of the film. You lie.
Hunger Games. Don't pull a Percy Jackson.
To be fair, this is a way better adaptation than Percy Jackson, but like,
don't do it. You're better than this.
but the fact that they broke their own continuity in one film, I was a little bit upset.
I mean, fair, but you're telling me that you haven't watched films that just like completely break continuity?
Oh, I have, and it always upsets me.
You like the Harry Potter films. They're great, but continuity sometimes is out the window.
Hey, I love them, but I know they're wrong. Because of Harry Potter, maybe my shirt title, but like when we get there, you will understand my hate and my anger.
At some point, we will get there. So anyway, they decide that they're gonna go blow up the stash of everything that the career tributes have, and they head off, and Rue is off to go, light some fires and create some distractions, and Katniss needs to go blow up everything else. So Katniss goes in, she assesses the situation, and the other tributes leave because Rue sets the first fire, and she's slightly confused on like what's going on, because she's like, all right, we can't just run up. The issue that I have is that like in the book everyone leaves in the career tributes, but in the film, yes they do.
Nah, the District 3 boy Oh, District 3 boy does go with them. Yeah, no, you're right.
He goes with them.
Yeah. So just so you know, Peeta's now left the group, and a District 3 boy has joined them, who's good at electronics, and he's now helping the careers. He's supposed to be a very scrawny boy, easy to kill, but he's using the careers for protection.
Yep, pretty much. So, yeah, in this moment, though, pretty much like what's happening is that she understands that there's got to be some type of track. She doesn't know what it is. She then sees Foxface jump around the ground, I guess is the best way to put it. She jumps around the ground and grabs some stuff and then scurries away. And Katniss puts together that, oh, there must be landmines.
Which, of course, because Katniss is brilliant in the book, in the film, Katniss doesn't put that together until after Caesar Flickerman and Claudius go, yeah, there's mines, by the way. Let's see how she handles it. So to me, every time Claudius or Flickerman talk right now, I feel like it undercuts Katniss's brilliance, because I do think she's really brilliant in the books, but I don't get that full sense of her brilliance in the film.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, she isn't necessarily that brilliant in the film. She is still smart, but does it. She then sees a bag of apples, and she's like, okay, if I can set one of these off, the chain reaction will probably set off all the other explosions, and it'll blow everything up. So she takes aim, but the first one misses, and the second one hits, and kaboom, we see apples, and they set off all the mines. Whoop-de-doo! Yay! All the career stuff is blown up. However, in the book, it takes 3 arrows, not 2.
Also, she shoots all 3 on purpose. Like, she purposely shoots the 3 arrows to do it, because she knows what she's doing. I felt like because there's no way the apples would have fallen without the 3 arrows, and she knows that. But in the film, it's like, oh, I missed one. Okay, I'll shoot another one. Cool, kaboom.
Yeah.
So also, after the explosion goes off, Katniss goes completely deaf in 1 year for the rest
That's
of the
never
games.
Explained in the film.
No, we don't even get a sense that... Well, we kind of get a sense from the soundtrack that she's been ailmented in the ears, but that goes away real quick. Cato comes in, kills the boy from District 3. It's different in the book and the film. In the book, Cato just strangles him with his forearm, and I'm like, dang, that guy has gains. The actor who plays Cato's not strong enough to do that, so they just have him snap his neck, which is also really hard scientifically.
Yeah.
So
like, he's not as buff, but like he's still incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and the District 3 guy gets killed because his minds just worked way too well. That's literally stolen straight from the book.
Yeah.
Rue, on the other hand, one thing that we missed that I really wanted to talk about, which will lead into this next section. So one of the reasons why Rue knows the Mockingjay song and she knows about the singing of the Mockingjays is that's what they use in District 11 to signify the end of the workday. So Rue's a big part of the ecosystem of District 11. She's really important to that district. Even though she's the youngest tribute, she has made herself invaluable to her entire district.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. Because then Rue's caught in a trap. She's caught in a rope trap, which is both book and film accurate. As Katniss is running towards her, there's another tribute running towards Rue at the same time. Ankit knows where I'm going with this. And in the book, as she's in the trap, the guy who we don't get the name of, the District 1 tribute, whose name is Marvel in the film, throws his spear right into Rue, and Rue dies. And Katniss turns around, shoots an arrow right through the guy's neck.
Yay!
In the film, it's a bit different. Katniss saves Rue, gets her out as they're hugging, and they're like, yeah. Then Marvel shows up, throws the spear to Rue. Katniss turns around, shoots an arrow right into his chest, turns around, and Rue's like, oh, I've been hit. It's such a film thing to do. It's such a film thing to do.
It's such a film thing to do. It really is. I mean, I went to a movie last night. Great movie. It's a Telugu movie that just came out called Hanuman. But it's fantastic. But then my sister was sitting next to me and she just goes, how does someone die if, you know, they're shot in the upper right hand shoulder? And I was like, they shouldn't. That's not... I was like, they'll be hurt, don't get me wrong. But also, like, in the film, it wasn't like she got shot and then it was like she got shot. Like, for anyone that's viewing, you can see this, but like the person gets shot right here. Also, spoilers if any of you plan on seeing this, I'm really sorry. But like, you know, this episode isn't coming out until the middle of February, and this movie is out in January. So, you know, yes, there's a month, but you have time. But anyway, like the person gets shot like up here. And for anyone that's listening on audio, it's literally like right under your bone of your shoulder bone. Or like whatever. I don't know if it's the shoulder bone or whatever, but like it's like right in the skin, like right there. And it's just like the most random thing. Like, it's not like she's bleeding out, like, you know, and it's like gushing out blood or anything. Like, it's just the most random thing. And it's just like, oh, okay, she's dead now. And it kind of felt the same way with Rue. And I was like, oh, okay, she's dead now.
So with Rue, Rue just like takes the spear out and then falls. And, you know, it's the whole Hollywood thing of like, oh, Katniss, sing to me. She does sing to her in the book, but I feel like it's a lot more earned because Rue still has the spear in her chest. Rue doesn't take it out. Just to be clear, this is Science 101 for anybody. If you've been stabbed, do not take the thing out. It actually will kill you faster.
Yeah, if you leave it in and then go find help, a medical professional who knows what they're doing can help you. Also, I really hope none of our listeners get stabbed, but just in case, like sometimes, you know, you might accidentally drop a knife in the kitchen. Whoops.
Yeah. So she sets a grave for Rue, which is the same. Also, she leaves the spear in her in the book, so the spear can be taken away from the games because she doesn't want the spear to be in the games anymore because it just killed Rue. She doesn't throw it away.
Yeah. I have an issue with this just in general. When Rue dies in the book, I'm like, oh no, Rue. Like, I was like, oh, like, I really liked her. I didn't want her to die yet. Like, I knew that she would have to die eventually. And, you know, but, like, not like this. Like, this is so sad. And then in the film, I was just like, all right, cool, Rue's dead. Let's move on. Like, there was just no... I didn't care.
Ankit's a monster.
No, not like that, but like in the sense that like they just didn't spend that much time with Katniss and Rue's relationship. They didn't cultivate it.
No, I
in the
get it.
film to where I didn't care about their relationship in the film. I was just like, all right, cool. Like, what? They've been friends now for a day, and now I'm supposed to care about Rue? Why? Like, in the book, they're friends for like 3 days or something before Rue dies. Like, they are friends for a while before Rue dies.
Also, to be clear, Rue reminds Katniss of her sister, which is why they're so close. And I think if that line was somewhere in there, it might have helped. But she does sing the
Maybe.
same song to her sister as she does Rue in the film. So maybe that was supposed to make Ankit feel something. Apparently, it didn't. Um,
Nope.
and
Did
then the honor of District 11 is showed differently in the film and the book. In the book, the District 11 mentor sends a basket of bread to Katniss as a thank you for looking out for Rue. It's a really weird moment in the games. Usually another district never sends any presents to another district. It rarely happens. But Katniss got some of Rue's gifts, which is really amazing. And she can tell it was given by her district because it was bread from her district. It'd be really hard. It'd be really cheap to get into the game. So she can tell it was from people from District 11.
Yeah. And
Instead, they show District 11 having a riot. They rebel against the Capitol, and then that scene comes out of nowhere, which leads us to a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, we need to kill Katniss now, even though she's in the games, because she's causing rebellion. Because we have to put that thought in everybody's head now, not in a later book.
yeah, I didn't like the District 11 uprising. I was like, oh, this doesn't happen. Why is this happening? I'm confused. I was very lost on like, why are they uprising? And like in my notes, I'm like, in the book, they just send her a loaf of bread, which also isn't brought up because like, I don't think they ever, oh no, they touch on it when Peeta's doing his like, what do you call it? Camouflage. When Peeta's doing his camouflage, they do touch on it that like he does the cakes, right? And the decoration of the cakes. So like, he's a baker's son, so Peeta explains to Katniss that each district has their own type of bread. And so that's why Katniss is able to understand that this is bread from District 11.
Yeah, also, because they want to kill Katniss and Haymitch is really brilliant and he wants to stop it, Haymitch comes up with the idea for the two star-crossed lovers. Two Chibites can win.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate that idea, and I'm like, yes, let's go, Haymitch.
No, I hate the idea. I hate it completely.
Why?
I think it pays off more when it was a capital idea to make fun of Katniss. Because think about it. They don't like Katniss. From the start, they don't like Katniss. She shot an arrow at them. That's clear. The capital, to make an example of Katniss, gave her hope. Like, that's the idea of the games. They wanted to give her hope and knew there could only be one victor anyway. So
Yeah.
I like it more as a capital idea, not a Haymitch idea. I think it takes away as a Haymitch idea, to be fair.
Fair. I don't think it does. I like it as a Haymitch idea.
Fair. But then we get another scene with Seneca and Snow. Again, not in the film, not in the book, but in the film. And Snow's like, be careful. I'm going to warn you. I'm warning you again. You mess up again, you're dead.
Yeah. But that's pretty much that scene. Before we continue talking about, Katniss having this hope, we're going to take a quick snack break and then we'll be back.
Hi, this is Steven. Thank you for watching Co-op Forge. If you like our content, wish to support our editing staff or all, please subscribe to our Patreon in the link down below. You'll get bonus footage and many other fun activities out of it. In our description, you'll also find links to our social media, where we'll post about our new episodes. Flip the Scripts is every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond is every other Thursday, and Post Finale is posted every Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Now back to the main episode.
So, we're back, and we see that the voice booms across the arena. It announces this new rule, which we alluded to right before our snack break, but it, alludes to this new rule that two victors can win if they're from the same district. So Katniss begins to track down Peeta, and she finds him in a creek. And they do his camouflage really, really well in the movie, and I'm really glad that they did, because it's something that was really, really well done by Peeta in the book. However, she has to struggle a lot more to find Peeta in the book.
So one of the things that I didn't like about the change from the book to film, number one, we only have 6 tributes left right now. So we have Cato, Clove, Thresh, Foxface, Katniss, and Peeta. So only Clove and Cato and Katniss and Peeta can win the games together. The other two, their other district died. The other person from their district died. So they can't win it with the other person. Because Cato and Clove are both from District 2. So
I think they were from District 1.
No, Marvel and Glimmer are District 1.
Oh, right. I flipped them in my head. My bad. Continue.
It's because they made like this romantic plot with Glimmer and Cato for some reason, which doesn't equal in the book at all. It always feels like when you read the book that Cato and Clove had something special.
Yeah.
I think because they cast a younger girl to play Clove and Cato's a bit older, they didn't want to make it look creepy.
You know what? Not the worst decision in the world.
Fair. But when they make the announcement, Katniss is supposed to say Peeta's name out loud for the first time, and it freaks her out, and it just like it makes the forest unsafe because she's just revealed where she is. She's really worried, but there's only 6 tributes left, so she feels a bit okay with that. She's sure Cato and Clover are by the cornucopia. She doesn't know where Thresh is. No one knows where Thresh is, to be clear. We'll talk more about that later. And Foxface is somewhere. So she goes to find Peeta, and it takes her like years to find him. Not
in the
years.
book. It takes her like I think a day, like a whole day.
No, exactly. But in the film, it's like there he is.
Yeah, it's Peeta, and yeah. So they find a cave where he's able to rest. So Peeta is really badly injured from not only the tracker jackers, but then also Cato pretty much beat him up and left him to die. After Peeta told Katniss to run away when the tracker jacker incident happened earlier in the games. So
you forgot one thing. Cato sliced Peeta's leg.
Oh, yeah.
So Peeta's leg has a huge gash. In the film, it's a bad wound. In the book, it's a lot more serious. The wound goes all the way to his bone. I don't know why they keep minimizing the wounds for Peeta and Katniss.
No. We can't show gore. It's a PG-13 movie.
Make it rated R. It could have been rated R. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I'm just saying I would love to see a Hunger Games that was rated R.
Fair. So they get into the cave, and Peeta and Katniss, Katniss is trying to help Peeta. Peeta has a fever. She uses the last of her medicine and the leaves from Rue to try to put it in his wound to help him as much as she can. And she puts him in her 0-degree sleeping bag to keep his temperature regulated because he has a really bad fever. Look at that. And then they share their first awkward kiss.
And then a package arrives.
This is book perspective, by the way. I'm only talking about the book. I'm not talking about the film. In the film, they show up in the cave. They kiss awkwardly. Then a package arrives. And, Haymitch is like, you call that a kiss? That's the message in the note that is in the film. In the book, Katniss just knows that's what Haymitch is saying by sending them soup.
No, but, Katniss is like, okay, that kiss will get us soup. I gotta do more if I want more than soup.
So in the book, Katniss spends a lot more time in the cave getting to know Peeta, building a romantic relationship, and they're getting a lot more gifts. They are not getting the medicine for Peeta's leg. That's the only thing they're not gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
And the game makers are actually making sure that Haymitch can't send that, or you get that feeling that once you get to the next part of the book. But basically, they announce after Peeta and Katniss get to know each other. Peeta talks about how he is in love with Katniss. He loved her ever since he was a little girl, and because he saw her sing the Valley song, and how happy she was as a little girl when they were in elementary school together, or Panem's version of elementary school.
Yeah.
Also, it just really builds their connection and helps sell that they're in love, that they're star-crossed lovers. Katniss is playing the game really well. She wants to want everybody to believe that she's in love with Peeta. And she keeps thinking in her head, wow, Peeta's so good at pretending he's in love with me.
Peeta's in love with you.
She doesn't really get that. Now, that's where I think Katniss, played by a younger person, might have been helpful because she's very ignorant of love in the book. Some people say a little too much so, but it's okay. The cave scenes go on forever. It's like 3 chapters in the book. It's like 1 minute in the film. Fine.
We have the Peeta telling her he loves her and that the love is never fake, and that's pretty much it. And then we get, and so I pulled up like just a little scene breakdown as we're going through this, and I love the way that they have described it on here. It says, "The voice of doom arrives again."
Voice of doom! Doomy voice! Doom voice say things about things.
Anyway, so the voice of doom arrives again.
Voice of doom says that there will be a dinner party at the cornucopia. There'll be something you need. Every tribute needs something. Go there and get it.
It's a picnic. It's not a dinner party.
Is it? Oh, picnic. Sorry, my bad. Picnic! No, picnic!
Oh, wonderful. I'm gonna go. And Peeta's like, no, Katniss, you're not gonna go. It's a trap. And Katniss is like, shut up, and kisses him to keep him quiet.
And then Peeta in the book and in the film kind of convinced her not to go, but she's gonna go anyway. In the film, she just leaves him sleeping and goes. But
yeah, I didn't like that.
In the book, she has to literally have Haymitch send her sleeping pills to drug him to sleep so she can go safely.
Yeah.
Which is, I like that change way better. Also, Katniss leaves Peeta in the cold to go get the bag at the picnic.
Yeah.
And Peeta's freezing. You think a 0-degree sleeping bag would have helped with that?
One would think, but no. The props department couldn't find one.
And the reason why she needs to go is because Peeta is dying from this thing called blood poisoning. Now, of course, Katniss knows what that is because Katniss's mom is a medic. So she knows what she's talking about. And so she's really worried Peeta will die soon. So he just needs medicine to prevent blood poisoning. So yeah. Katniss goes, and they all get to the picnic. And the first person to jump out is Foxface. Foxface is quick. She runs, she grabs her bag, and she's out.
She gone. I mean, that was the same as in the book. She's hiding in the cornucopia and then grabs it and runs away.
And Katniss is pissed because she didn't think about it.
You know what, Katniss? You had a dying Peeta to deal with. Cut yourself some slack. Now, I have a question for you. What do you think? So we know what Katniss needed. What do you think Thresh needed? What do you think Thresh needed? What do you think Foxface needed? And what do you think Cato and what's-her-face needed? Clove. There we go. As you can tell, I really care about her.
So because Katniss blew up the supplies, obviously Cato and Clove now would be really hungry because they're not good at hunting. That's not their specialty.
Their specialty is killing.
No, exactly. So they probably would get like cooking supplies or actual food in the bag.
Okay.
Just for everybody's edification, in the book, all the bags are different sizes, not small little bags for everybody. Like Katniss's bag is the smallest size, and on purpose because she knows it's Peeta's medicine. Because the Capitol likes to mess with people.
Yay! It's almost like they put everyone who is 12 to 18 into an arena to kill each other for entertainment. What do you mean they like to mess with people? That sounds totally normal.
I think Thresh gets something for the wheat because he's been hiding in wheat the whole time. I don't know. And then Foxface, I would assume, gets like food as well. I think most of them get food.
Okay.
Because that's what the picnic is supposed to be. It's supposed to be food originally and to bring people out so they kill each other. But Katniss is the only one who like needs medicine.
Right. Okay. So fair enough.
Katniss runs in for District 12's backpack, and Clove shows up and throws a knife right at her. Pretty good. The fight scene is a bit... I hate the shaky cam again. I don't like the shaky cam. But I did find out something interesting about the actress who played Clove.
Ooh, do tell.
She was the second choice for Katniss.
That's super cool that they like still found a way to get her in.
And she's really into the book. Like, she talks about it in interviews. She's really into the book. I think, to be fair, she has the physical body type for Katniss from the books, so she kind of fits Katniss's body physically from the book perspective. But I understand why they're like, let's do Jennifer Lawrence for the film, because I think Jennifer Lawrence's acting is a lot better for Katniss.
Yeah, and not anything taking away from the lady who plays Clove, whose name I don't know. I'm very sorry. But yeah, I mean, she was great as Clove. I believed her as Clove.
Yeah. Also, shaky cam does
Don't
not
think it
equal
was
good.
needed here.
It does not equal good action. You use shaky cam to be like, oh, look, we're doing good action. No, shaky cam to me means you're just hiding action. You're hiding bad action.
Yeah. Again, I think the shaky cam worked in like maybe one or two instances in this whole film, personally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the beginning when it's kind of like a POV of Katniss running through the woods. Then the shaky cam kind of works when it's like, a point of view running, because no one runs in a perfectly straight line. Even if you're running on the street, like, you're not running in a perfectly straight line. There's a bit of a shake. And the other time that I think it works is like we were saying earlier in this episode, where they were trying to show chaos at the start of the games.
Yeah.
I think those are the two moments that like it did actually really help, especially to portray chaos. So like I understand them trying to portray chaos, but also I would have rather just seen the fight scene.
Exactly. So Clove mentions Rue's name, and Thresh hears it, and Thresh is like, you killed that little girl, and then kills her. Which, like, yes, that is almost exactly what happens in the book. Almost. There's a slight change. She doesn't say we killed Rue, but because she mentions Rue, Thresh automatically connects it, and Thresh goes after Katniss as well, but Katniss is able to explain that she helped Rue, that they were friends, and Thresh says another day, and leaves her and takes Cato's bag and his own bag, leaving Katniss with her bag. So everyone gets their bag except for Cato. Cato then shows up in the book, sees Chloe's body, is like, and cries over her body, like cries over her dead body. So we kind of see a different element of Cato. We see that he really cared for Clove, which is not in the film at all. In the film, Katniss gets the bag, and Thresh goes, another day, 12. And then Katniss shows up at the cave again with medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is medicine to cure blood poisoning. This is not medicine to fix. This is not Jesus medicine to fix any injury in the freaking world. So they decided
this is the medicine that we need.
They decided to make it Jesus medicine. So Katniss put Jesus medicine on Peeta's leg, and Peeta put Jesus medicine on her forehead, and it fixed all of the damage that they've taken in the games. Minus the fact that, like, in the book, it was just pills. It was just pills that literally he was able to take to stop blood poisoning, so that way he can walk and have no fever.
I think it was an injection.
Oh, it's an injection. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not pills. It's an injection. And it goes right into his, like, leg. It just was so weird. Such a weird change to be like, magic Jesus medicine.
So you say Jesus medicine, and it reminded me of something that happened while I'm home for the holidays.
Oh no.
And no. So it's funny. Don't worry. It's okay. But we ran out of like milk that morning or something. So my parents were like, all right, like we'll go to the store and we'll grab some. This is Christmas morning, right? The 25th of December. So they go to the store and the store is closed, and the Rite Aid, which is like the pharmacy that's nearby, like everything is just shut and nothing is open. So my dad comes back and he just goes, yeah, so Rite Aid was closed too. And I was like, really? Rite Aid was closed? Like, I understand having like smaller hours. And for anyone that's not near a Rite Aid is kind of like a pharmacy store. You can go there and get like over the counter medicine, and they have a pharmacy inside of it as well. So like, I understand if it's like shortened hours or whatever on Christmas Day, but it's just like completely closed. And it wasn't like my parents went at like a weird time. They went at like 11 a.m. when you would think that things would be open, right? And my dad was like, nope, Rite Aid was closed. So I was like, what do you do if, like, you wake up Christmas morning and you have a cold and you don't have, like, any medicine and you need to go get it? And he's like, pray to Jesus. Jesus will save you. Jesus medicine.
Jesus medicine. So, basically, they wake up the next morning and they're completely healed. I mean, Peter still has like a little bit of a cut, but I'm like, damn, this medicine works way too good. So,
Jesus medicine.
Jesus medicine. So, Peeta and Katniss start going to hunt and gather because they need food now to survive, and they've ran out of food, which is fair enough. They've been living together, and so they need to make more supplies. In the book, Peeta and Katniss try to hunt together, but Peeta's like, "You're too." Katniss is like, "You're too loud, Peeta." So Peeta times to go gather, and Katniss decides to go hunt.
But they were like, hey, stay close enough to where we can hear each other. Like, still be able to, like, whistle. She teaches Peeta the whistle.
Exactly. Which doesn't happen in the film. Peeta and Katniss do go separate ways, but they just kind of say, sleep close to each other. And so Peeta's hunting, Katniss is hunting, and all of a sudden, you hear a boom. You hear a cannon go off. She freaks out. She runs over. She sees Peeta. Peeta's there. And they both look at each other like, what happened? And Peeta's holding Nightlock, which is a deadly berry. Now, it's not named in the book. It is named in the film. And Katniss just goes, where did you find these berries? And they find Foxface dead, who has eaten these berries. And then they realize they're poison. So I think it's a lot more interesting in the book where like Katniss and Peeta discover that Foxface has eaten the berries and been poisoned by Peeta. And Peeta's like, oh my gosh, I'm now responsible for killing someone, which is a big moment in Peeta's character.
Yeah, but here's the issues that I have with it, right?
Book or film?
In the film, because the book does it differently.
Yeah.
In the book, Katniss already knows what Nightlock is. Again, I don't know if it's named in the book, but it's definitely like mentioned. Because Rue tells her that we have these berries, don't eat these berries are poisonous. So Katniss sees the berries and freaks out because, she thought Peeta ate them or something. And it's like, no. But then the reason that it's such a big deal in the film that Peeta killed Foxface, even if it was unintentional, which it was unintentional in the book as well, but in the book, he goes back and puts that other tribute out of her misery, the stupid one who lit the fire. But in the film, he doesn't do that. So Foxface is the only person that he kills in the film.
No, I agree. I also think this is where the mistakes kind of pile in. When Foxface dies, the games turn from a 2v1v1 situation. So Thresh, Cato, because Clove is dead, Peeta,
Right.
and Katniss are a team, and Foxface. So five people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, before this, they're still in the cave. There is a cannon that goes off, and Katniss and Peeta talk about, oh, we hope it's Thresh, because we don't want to kill Thresh because we like Thresh. And it turns out to be Thresh. And Katniss is kind of happy it's Thresh because she doesn't want to kill Thresh. So now she has to kill Cato. And Thresh is already dead by this point. So when Foxface dies, it becomes a 2v1. In the film, they decided to kill Thresh a little later. And I think it kind of mitigates it a bit. So we jump from Foxface dying to it going straight to nighttime because the games can do that. And Katniss is like, oh, it's turning to the end game. Which it was just night. It was just night when they fought. It was just night when it happened. They send dogs after them. Now, when Foxface died, Katniss and Peeta in the book decide to go track down Cato. So they go to the lake. They go to the cornucopia, but they don't see Cato anywhere. These dogs that they put in the film, these are film only, mind you, 3 dogs. Well, we'll explain the dogs of the book a little later because they're better. They chase Peeta and Katniss to the cornucopia. So that's why they needed the Jesus medicine, so Peeta could run. That's the only reason I see it, because right in the book, Katniss would have helped Peeta run, because Peeta can't move that well.
Right.
So Katniss and Peeta run to the cornucopia, they get on top, and Cato's there, and they have the huge fight. The dogs are chasing Cato, and they all three do still end up on top of the cornucopia, but the dogs in the book are a lot more scary because there's 21 dogs and they're all the previous tributes.
Which is terrifying.
Like there's a thresh dog, there's a rue dog. Like, could you imagine Katniss's own psyche being terrified by a little rue dog?
Yeah, because I read the book.
No, what I mean is, like, for the audience. I was talking to the audience. It felt like the Capitol took the eyes of all the tributes who died and put them into these dogs. So it scared the heck out of Katniss and Peeta and Cato. And so same thing kind of happens in the book. Katniss and Peeta fight Cato. And Cato gets a hold of Peeta and is like, I have my bicep thing. I'm going to kill him. You know I can do it. And Peeta Katniss shoots a arrow at his hand and he falls over and gets knocked down and gets mauled by 21 dogs in the book. In the film, he gets mauled by the 4 dogs, I believe there are. It's
like 4 or 5, maybe.
4 or 5.
Not a lot. Not 21.
The thing is about the book edition, the film edition. In the fight, Cato had this whole moment of like, oh, it's just for their entertainment. Like, he feels like he's trying to make like a political point before he dies, where I'm like, they're trying to Cato character now, where I felt like in the film, Cato's character was like, no, I am raised to do this. Like, this is all part of me. So it just felt weird, like the rewrite of Cato's character a bit with his monologue in the film.
Okay.
But I don't know how you felt about his monologue in the film.
I didn't mind his monologue in the film because, you know, like you said, in the book it was a bit more of like a political statement, but in the film,
it was like a political statement in the film.
Right, it was a political statement in the film. I didn't mind it that much because you saw that moment with Clove.
Yeah.
Right? And so that kind of made me think like, okay, like you see this moment with Clove, which you don't see in the book.
Film.
Right? But seeing that moment, it might have broken him a little bit in the film. So I didn't mind the change. It was an interesting change, but I didn't mind it altogether.
I think because the book gave him some character with Clove's death where the film didn't, so I guess they had to give him character somewhere. So Katniss shoots the arrow at his hand. He falls over and he's getting mauled to death. In the book, Katniss shoots an arrow as a mercy kill to Cato like right away. No, I'm sorry, in the film. In the book, though, Katniss and Peeta fall asleep on top of the cornucopia, heavy breathing. Peeta's, by the way, more injured now because he was hurt by Cato in the chase scene. Just to point
and he
out.
Also gets hit by a dog before they're able to get up onto the cornucopia.
No, I know, but he got slashed. Another sword slashed him in the book version on the same leg. So he's more injured, so he will die unless they win the game. So there's more stakes in the book. Like, Peeta is about to die. That is literally the stakes right now. Mm-hmm. So they're waiting for the cannon to go off, and they've waited all night. It's all of a sudden in the morning, and that's when Katniss mercy kills Cato. Cato is being mauled to death by 21 dogs for 6 hours in the book.
Yeah, it's bad.
So they kill him. And of course, Peeta and Katniss are like, why haven't they called the end of the games? They don't know. So Katniss and Peeta go to the lake. This is book only, by the way. And then they make the announcement going, hey, only one can be victor. And then we cut to like basically the same plot points. Katniss and Peeta are like, there has to be a victor. Let's kill ourselves. Katniss in the book does it kind of as rebellion against, a little more rebellious against the districts instead of like a love for, against the Capitol instead of love of Peeta. They kind of try to show that in the film with her not kind of looking at Peeta when she counts to 2. But like, I don't know if it's clear. And they both go to eat the berries, and they stop the game, and they both win. Yay! And then they get picked up. And this is the big change for me, because we black out to a scene to Haymitch and Katniss sometime later. But Peeta's like about to die. I love it when the doctors rush in and take Peeta, and like Katniss is just screaming for Peeta's name and trying to get to him because she's afraid they're going to kill him. And then she gets knocked out. and that's when she wakes up to talk to Haymitch. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lot more interesting. I think there's a lot more dynamics to it.
It shows that she really does care for PETA.
Exactly. So Haymitch and Katniss, of course, now can talk kind of freely, kind of not. Haymitch is like, the Capitol's really pissed. Same kind of concept. And he's like, you have to pretend you have loved this boy, and this is the only reason you did it. You have to be so honest. They cut the line where Katniss is like, well, don't you have to say the same thing to PETA? And he's like, I don't have to. They cut that. I was kind of upset that they cut that because I feel like that's such a good, where like Katniss
It's a really good line.
Where Katniss doesn't understand what Haymitch means by like, I don't have to tell PETA to love you.
Yeah.
The other thing they're missing is Haymitch protects Katniss because they wanted to do medical procedures on both the victors. They wanted to give Katniss breast implants. So Haymitch has been fighting the Capitol to protect Katniss ever since she got out of the games.
Yeah. Haymitch is like, no, fix her ear, and that's it. Like, you just need to fix her ear.
That's not in the book. That's not in the film. It's only in the books. But in the film, we kind of just cut straight to the post-game interview, which, again, they've changed. They make it like a public thing instead of a private thing in like a filmed apartment, which is fair. Katniss is supposed to be dressed more childlike in the interview to kind of hide the fact, and she's supposed to be very lovey-dovey with PETA. They kind of don't do that. Also, Seneca Crane in the film is seen walking to a hallway, walks into a room, and there's berries in the middle. He's expected to eat it.
We'll get to that next week, probably.
And Seneca Crane in the film, you can imagine, will die, which is really cool. And so they try to make Katniss seem like a little girl. She also sees PETA's new leg. So they didn't. So in the book franchise, PETA has a fake leg now because his leg got too injured in the games. They had to give him a prosthetic leg. They just didn't put that in the film. He just doesn't.
Jesus medicine.
He just has two legs. Jesus medicine.
Jesus medicine.
Then PETA and Katniss are on the train home. So it's the end of the games. She's thinking she's convinced people. Snow has crowned them both the victors. I don't like the fact they skipped the joke that Snow like broke a crown into two. I thought that was really funny because it shows Snow is also an entertainer as well as like a big bad villain. Like he's also really good at like playing the entertainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's also very good at the, we only made one crown. Hold on. Rip.
Well, it turned into actual two crowns, which is cool. I also don't like in the film how Katniss is the only one who gets crowned. PETA's just like looking at her. I know they have the other crown there, but like they don't show PETA getting crowned at all.
Give PETA the flowers he deserves.
Give him the crown.
He didn't kill as many people, but he deserves the crown.
So PETA and Katniss are on the train home. Now in the film, PETA and Katniss just have a talk of like, oh, what's going to change? Are we going to change? What's going to happen now that we're back? And Katniss is like, I just want to forget all of it. And they go back and they wave at everybody. They're like, hi, we're back. Yay.
And that's the end of the film. In the book, they don't make it back to 12.
They do.
No, they don't.
Well, kind of.
They are on the train, but they
12.
don't actually see everybody back home.
Well, that's what I mean. They're about to get to 12. But Katniss and PETA also have a conversation in the book where Katniss is basically like, oh, I don't love you. I thought this was all we were just playing love. And PETA's like, no, like, I actually love you. He's trying to really spell it out for Katniss in the book. Katniss in the book is like, I don't know what you mean, man. This was all a game.
The book is very thick. Let's put it this way. You know how, women sometimes, there's this perspective, not saying that it's always there, but there's the perspective that like signals aren't clear and that men can't understand the signals of love and so on and so forth. Ladies, if you ever feel this way, Katniss in the book is pretty much how most of us run our lives. We are very clueless 99% of the time.
I would say this is genderless, Ankit. People are just clueless when it comes to love.
No. But the stereotype is that men are more clueless to love.
I understand we're talking about the stereotype, but this is just true.
Yeah, it's just true. I mean, I just saw a clip. It's from I need to watch the show. So I watched season 1 of its Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
The first season I loved, but then they took out Emilio Estevez for the second season, so I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, and that's why I couldn't watch the second season, but I think they're now on like season 3 or something. And I saw a clip show up just like as I was scrolling through something. And I think you know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
One of the girls is just like, there was a time a few weeks ago that I really liked you. And then the guy's just like, hold up. Backtrack. Can we go back to you saying you like me? And she's like, yeah, I thought I made it really clear. And he's like, could we go over all of these moments just to make sure that I have understood what you mean by very clear? Like, I feel that.
So Katniss and Peeta kind of have a falling out, and Haymitch again tells her, I didn't have to tell him to fake it. And she finally kind of gets it, but kind of doesn't. And the end of the book is them about to go on their victory tour with cameras, and they're at District 12, and Katniss is going to put on the fake act again, and Peeta shows up to do the fake act with her. And for the first time, Katniss might realize what it means for Peeta to put on an act. It's a little different than what Katniss does.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the book. And that is our comparisons, everyone.
Woo!
So now we get to grade everything, and I'm really excited because I feel like...
Let us know if we missed anything, by the way, in the comments. Let us know, because we probably did.
We know we can't cover everything. We only can do so much in an hour and a half for 2 episodes of a franchise. But if there's something that you really, really loved about the Hunger Games book, that you're like, they messed this up so much in the film, we'd love for you to talk about it. Like we loved both. We're here to listen. So, Ankit, let's grade the book Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. 1 out of 10. Give me your grading.
Give it a solid 8.
Yeah, on a first read, I'd give it an 8.5. Very, very strong. I think, of course, it has room to go because there's obviously 2 sequels after the Hunger Games.
Well, let's put it this way. I read it for the first time for this, right?
Yeah.
So I hadn't read it before. And I finished it, and I was like, I need to watch this film as soon as possible so that I can start reading the second book. Like, I want to read the second book.
Exactly. So I think 8.5 is a fair assessment of the book.
Yeah.
Cool. The film, just the film, not as an adaptation.
Just the film, I'd probably give it a 7.5.
If the shaky cam wasn't there, I'd give it a 8. I think with the shaky cam, a 7.
Yeah.
Fair. 7, maybe 6.5. I really hate shaky cam.
Yeah, put that together. Yeah, I do think the reason that I give it a 7 is that I didn't mind the shaky cam as much as you did. But also I think that there were some things that were a little ambiguous, weren't fully explained. Like, I think the main reason for the 7 is characters, right? And I know that there are more films that are coming, but if I had seen the film before I read the book, which again, I may have and just completely forgot about it. Listeners, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the last episode and you will understand what I'm talking about. But I think, like, because I just didn't feel as connected to the characters. Like, I understand that there are more films and, like, we'll get more character development, but there are some of these characters that, like, we will never see again because they're dead. And I think that's why I give it a 7. But if I saw the film first, I would still go read the book. I'd be like, oh, like, if I didn't know that this was based on a book, I'd be like, all right, let me go read the book. Because, like, it was a very solid film to where I'm like, okay, I need to go, like, read this book. Because, like, I know that the book is going to have more information and more depth. Because that's just the way that it works.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. Now, we're at my favorite part. Let's grade the adaptation.
All right. I want to hear your rating first.
Ooh. Okay. Switching it up a bit. I would say as an adaptation, very strong. I would say an 8.5. They stuck very close to the book in a lot of aspects. They only changed some things that they probably had to. Yes, there were things that I didn't like that they changed. Yes, there were things that I felt like were dragging, but they were, even Suzanne Collins was on the writing staff. Obviously, there was a very close care to it. Obviously, Madge and the mayor pissed us off, all that stuff. So that stuff kind of knocked it down a bit. But I think a solid B. It does its job as an adaptation, but I think because the film misses a lot of the aspects of the book a bit, that's why it's an 8.
I thought you said 8.5.
8.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree with an 8. My reasoning is slightly different.
Fair.
I would agree with an 8. Obviously, there's stuff that they missed, but I think that's going to happen with almost every single adaptation. There's going to be stuff that is different than the book. That's just the way that adaptations work. My main reason for an 8 is, again, the same reason that I docked it on the film, is I think they spent a little too much time potentially like setting up the story, and they didn't leave enough time, or just the dialogue maybe, right? Like there may have been enough time, but the dialogue made it seem like Katniss wasn't brilliant, and Katniss is very smart.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a connection to characters other than Katniss. That's why I'm docking it. Because in the book, I really liked Peeta. I really liked Gale. I really liked Haymitch. Like,
Haymitch, yeah.
even though Haymitch isn't really around that much in the book, because, from part 2 onwards, we're in the games. Like, Haymitch is just this entity that can send gifts. So,
he's
but like
present.
you get that
he's
present.
present
He's present, but he's not physically there, right? And it's just like I didn't feel the love and the care as much, and I understand. And I think it wasn't even necessarily the length, like they had the time to do it, but just the way that the dialogue was in certain places. I just didn't feel the compassion and the love and the care between the characters.
Fair.
So that's why I would give it an 8, because, obviously there are things that they changed, but like we said, that's going to happen with every adaptation. So, that's fine.
They didn't have time for character development.
Yeah, there just wasn't as much, and I'm really excited to talk about the next book and the next film, because in terms of character development, I do think that one does more.
Yeah, so that's the end of our Hunger Games part 1 and part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, what are you doing? Watch part 1. It's available at Co-op Forge, or you can watch it on our YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the description bio below. It'll also be in our end card, hopefully, that we're setting up this week for the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us for Flip the Scripts. This is our 6th episode, which is kind of crazy to say. Who knew we'd get this far? I'm really happy. I'm really happy. Obviously, Ankit and I have been digital for the last 4 episodes. If you notice, we did Sea of Monsters all digital. We've done the first Hunger Games. So Ankit and I are going to be finally in person for Catching Fire. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be amazing. Yay. But sadness, I'll tell you this now, and I'll mention it again probably before I go digital again. I am moving away from the UK, so we will be digital again in no time. But I appreciate you all watching. I appreciate you spending your time. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like us to do next, or you just want to comment on how goofy we are or how ridiculous we are, or if you like my Doom voice, like and subscribe, whether you watch this on YouTube or Spotify or any other platform.
Be sure to join us next week as we continue talking about Catching Fire and the next book in the Hunger Games series. So if you haven't read it, you haven't watched the film, you want to catch up, you have a week to do so before we watch it. I believe if you are listening in the US, they are available on Hulu. If not, VPNs are a thing. If you need to watch it in other ways, shapes, or forms, we don't care. We're not getting paid for you to watch the film. So watch the film.
We do not encourage you to watch it illegally.
No. Please do not do that. So, that being said...
That was terrible.
Shut up! I never said it was good.
On that note, please follow and subscribe, and if you really like us, support us on Patreon. We'll see you later. Have a wonderful night. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nieman. Our editor is Sebastien Hollich. The art is by Kshitija Madhira, and the music is by Sebastien Hollich. If you like the video, you can click to listen to the next part, or if it's not out yet, you can find one of our previous episodes.
Or if you want to check out some of our other content, here's a fun video from another one of our shows.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all of our content when it releases.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content.
Links to all of our social media and Patreon are in the episode description down below.
Thank you for supporting our content. Come back next week for more shenanigans from Co-op Forge.
New episodes for Flip the Scripts release every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond every other Thursday, and post finale every Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now.